Welcome back to the Story Bypass. Today, we delve into one of the darkest chapters in history as we explore the life and legacy of Pol Pot. From his rise to power to the atrocities committed during his regime, we will uncover the truth behind this notorious figure. So, grab your seats and prepare for a gripping journey into the world of Pol Pot. Pol Pot, the man behind the regime. Pol Pot was born on May 19, 1925, in Prek Spov, Cambodia. Let's start by understanding his early life and how he eventually became the leader of the Khmer Rouge. Early life and education. Pol Pot, whose birth name was Salah Sar, came from a relatively modest background. He grew up in a farming family and received a traditional Cambodian education. After completing his primary education, he received a scholarship to study in Paris, France. In Paris, Pol Pot was exposed to various political ideologies and became particularly interested in communism. He joined the French Communist Party and became involved in left-wing movements, which significantly influenced his future actions in Cambodia. The rise of Pol Pot. Upon returning to Cambodia in the late 1950s, Pol Pot embarked on a mission to overthrow the existing government and establish a communist regime. He formed the Khmer Rouge, a communist guerrilla group, and began gaining support from rural peasants who were disillusioned with the current leadership. Pol Pot's charisma and ideological beliefs attracted a significant following, allowing the Khmer Rouge to grow in both strength and influence. Eventually, their numbers swelled, and they gained control over vast areas of Cambodia. Pol Pot's regime. Pol Pot's regime officially began on April 17, 1975, when the Khmer Rouge captured Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia. They immediately implemented radical policies aimed at transforming Cambodia into an agrarian socialist society. One of the most notorious actions of the Khmer Rouge was the forced evacuation of cities, including Phnom Penh. The entire urban population was uprooted and sent to rural areas to work in labor camps. This marked the beginning of a period known as Year Zero, atrocities and human rights abuses. The Khmer Rouge's rule was marked by extreme brutality and human rights abuses. Under Pol Pot's leadership, millions of Cambodians endured unimaginable suffering. Pol Pot's regime was responsible for numerous atrocities, including mass executions, torture, forced labor, and starvation. Intellectuals, professionals, and anyone perceived as a threat to the regime were targeted and brutally eliminated. The killing fields. One of the darkest chapters in Cambodia's history is the era of the killing fields. These were sites where the Khmer Rouge executed and buried their victims. The most infamous of these sites is the Choang Ek Genocidal Center near Phnom Penh. The killing fields serve as a grim reminder of the horrors that unfolded during Pol Pot's regime. Thousands of innocent people lost their lives in these fields, making it a haunting symbol of the atrocities committed by the Khmer Rouge. International response. As news of the atrocities committed by the Khmer Rouge reached the international community, there was widespread condemnation of Pol Pot. As news of the atrocities committed by the Khmer Rouge reached the international community, there was widespread condemnation of Pol Pot and his regime. Let's explore the international response to these horrifying events. Around the world, people were horrified by the reports coming out of Cambodia. Newspapers ran headlines exposing the extent of the atrocities, and global protests demanding action were held in solidarity with the Cambodian people. Vietnam's invasion and fall of the Khmer Rouge. In 1979, Vietnam invaded Cambodia, leading to the eventual downfall of the Khmer Rouge. Pol Pot and his followers were forced into the jungles, where they continued to fight a guerrilla war against the Vietnamese-backed government. During this time, Pol Pot and his remaining loyalists operated in remote regions, launching sporadic attacks and causing further suffering for the Cambodian people. Pol Pot's legacy and trial. In the early 1990s, as Cambodia moved towards peace and stability, efforts were made to bring Pol Pot to justice for his crimes. However, due to political complexities and concerns about stability, a full-scale trial never took place. In 1997, Pol Pot died under mysterious circumstances while under house arrest. Pol Pot's legacy is one of devastation and trauma. Even though he was never held accountable in a court of law, his actions continued to reverberate through Cambodian society. Rebuilding and healing. In the aftermath of Pol Pot's regime, Cambodia faced the monumental task of rebuilding the nation and healing the wounds inflicted on its people. The process of reconciliation and justice is ongoing. NGOs, government agencies, and individuals have been working tirelessly to rebuild infrastructure, provide support for survivors, and address the psychological and emotional scars left by the Khmer Rouge. Lessons learned. The legacy of Pol Pot Pot's regime serves as a reminder of the dangers of totalitarianism and the importance of upholding human rights. It stands as a stark example of the devastating consequences that can result from unchecked power and radical ideologies. Scholars and experts continue to study the Khmer Rouge era to understand how such atrocities occurred and how to prevent similar events from happening again. Memorialization and education. Efforts have been made to preserve the memory of the victims and educate future generations about the horrors of Pol Pot's regime. Museums, memorials, and educational programs aim to ensure that the past is never forgotten. Through these initiatives, the Cambodian people strive to honor the memory of those who suffered and to ensure that their stories are passed down to future generations. As we conclude our exploration of Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge, we are reminded of the importance of preserving history and learning from the past. May we always remember the victims and work towards a world where such atrocities are never repeated. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the life and legacy of Pol Pot. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking content. Until next time, this has been the Story Bypass. Stay curious and keep exploring.